Hello, welcome. My name is Lorenzo Robinson,
I'm Moxon Glosson.
and this is the second episode of season 2 of RU Sports Speaks. So, just to kind of start things off, I just want to congratulate the hometown Atlanta Braves for winning the World Series. We got a very devout Braves fan with us.
Yes, we do.
What you thinking about that, man?
Oh, man, Lorenzo, it was crazy. It was just 26 years, right? And Falcons have never won it. I know Atlanta United won it, but I'm not a soccer fan. I think to truly break the supposed Atlanta curse, we had to have two teams win a championship. So once we were up 5-0, I mean, as an Atlanta sports fan, no matter what lead you have, you're going to be worried, right? But once we got up 7-0 and it was 6th, 7th, 8th inning, I was like, this is actually happening. And I was watching it with my brother, who's just as big a fan as I am. And funny thing is like college football, I've got just as many people I know that hate Georgia as they do love Georgia.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at one that hates Georgia.
Absolutely.
But with the Braves, the fan base geographically is so large. It's like everyone was rooting for the Braves down here. So it was really cool. I wish I could go to the parade tomorrow, but I'm gonna be out of town. But it was amazing. I haven't ever cried after a game, but I actually did cry. I'm not kidding. It's not
I don't blame you, man.
I'm not kidding.
That's an emotional moment. You know what I'm saying?
It was cool. But it's no one can take it away from us. It's a weird feeling. I was talking to Evan Quinones, who's also in strategic communications with us, and he was like, I can't believe this is actually real.
Yeah. I mean, awesome. So much heartbreak. You know what I'm saying, for the city and the state. So it was good to see, Atlanta, or they're in Cobb County now, so Atlanta adjacent teams win. And maybe that is good for you as a UGA fan, possibly. Georgia, the Georgia curse has been broken. Georgia winning the national title this year, possibly.
It's possible. I'm not going to say we're definitely going to, like some of my friends are. I'm just like, I'm telling everyone to calm down, but.
So that segues us right into what we're going to start off with today. A little bit of college football. We're talking college football playoff rankings.
Yes.
Did you get a chance to see the rankings?
I did get a chance to see the rankings.
It is very, very, very interesting. So the top four the committee has UGA at 1. Not much of a surprise. Been the best team all year, unbeaten. And then this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah. It's Georgia
Alabama. Alabama at 2.
Yeah.
Wow. Michigan State 3. Wow. Oregon 4, Ohio State 5, and then breaks my heart, Cincinnati at 6.
Criminal.
Breaks my heart.
Criminal.
I'm going to let you go first because I'm going to get on my soapbox about Cincinnati.
Okay. Well, I won't talk about Cincinnati much. I know Navarro wanted to talk about him last week, and I know how much you love Cincinnati.
Oh, man.
And let me tell you, I love Cincinnati too. I think my favorite game last year was against Cincinnati, was the Georgia game. It was an awesome game.
Down to the wire in Atlanta. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if that doesn't show you how good Cincinnati is and how they should be ranked higher, I don't know what does. I always have my top 10 at the end of every week of college football. There are some things I agree with. There are some things I don't agree with. Certainly Cincinnati should be higher. But Alabama being number 2, I'm not shocked at the committee is putting Alabama at number 2, but if you look at the stipulations they use, Alabama doesn't have the strength of schedule over Michigan State.
I don't believe they do.
They don't have the undefeated record that Michigan State does, or Michigan State or Cincinnati, right? Or even Wake Forest, which I do have in my top 10 this week. But so they have to rely on the eye test, which is just the most ambiguous, vague stipulation that the committee uses.
Exactly.
It's very strange.
Like what is eye test? Like, I'll tell you what eye test is. Eye test is, and situations are a little bit different, right? But Clemson, a few years ago, undefeated in a very weak ACC, And they go into the playoff pretty much without much of a contest, right?
Yeah.
Wake Forest, weak ACC. What are they right now? They're 8-0, and they're 9th, and they might not get in even if they went out.
Yeah.
So eye test,
Yeah.
We don't know what that means really.
Now I have my own eye test, right? Ooh, kick the chair there. I have my own eye test.
So what do you value?
How complete teams look, right? Which again, I think one of the most complete teams in the country right now. A few very complete-looking teams look more complete than Alabama. I think Cincinnati looks more complete than Alabama. The problem that Cincinnati's having, I'll let you talk about Cincinnati. But Alabama, let's just talk about Alabama for a second. I don't really have a problem with them being in the top 4 per se. 2 is really high. I have them at 5 this week. They're just on the outside. I'm glad Chicago's not here because he'd get all mad. But I've got them at 5.
Sorry you're listening to this, man. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Chicago, if we offend you if you're listening to this. But I've got Georgia 1. I think right now you can switch either of these 2 out. This is where my eye test comes into play. I have Ohio State at 2 over Michigan State.
Wow.
I know. And I know I said last week that Ohio State was going to definitely cover the spread, and they didn't. They only won by like 9 or 11 or something like that.
Yeah, pretty comfortable, though.
Yeah, they won comfortably. There were a few times where I'm like, oh, Penn State could make a run here. But Ohio State kind of just held them down and didn't let go. And Penn State's a good team. I don't think they're a great team. I think they're a good team.
Solid team.
They're a solid team. They recruit well. James Franklin's a good coach. So right now, I think just Ohio State's playing really good football. And they, to me, seem more complete than Michigan State. That's not to say Michigan State isn't excellent because I have them at number 3. And I totally understand the argument that someone would have putting them at 2 because of their strength of schedule, which is they just beat a top 10 Michigan team.
Yeah, it's loaded.
Yeah. That Michigan probably has better talent than Michigan State. And just if there's any doubt in anyone's mind about Kenneth Walker not being the front runner for the Heisman Trophy, that went out the window last week, in my opinion, at least for me. He is my number 1 right now. 5 touchdowns last week is absolutely insane. He's just a power runner.
Against a really good defense, too.
Yes.
Like, that Michigan defense is pretty unforgiving.
Oh, yes. The one thing about Michigan State is I don't trust Thorne, I think his name is, their quarterback.
Yes.
I think he's a lot inaccurate. He has some good game management properties. I just don't think I don't like their passing game as much. I think Ohio State obviously has the personnel to beat Michigan State.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We'll see who number 2 is and who number 3 is come who the better team is when they play each other. But so I have them at 3, Michigan State at 3, and then I've got the Bearcats at 4.
Cincinnati.
They should still be in the top 4. I don't care what anyone says. And then I got Bama, Oregon, Bama and Oregon at 5 and 6. Then I really like what the committee did with the last 6 back or 7 back, especially, and some people would not agree with me, having Oklahoma at 8.
Yeah, we talk about eye test.
Yeah.
And they certainly have not passed the eye test.
That is why a 1-loss Ohio State and a 1-loss Alabama and a 1-loss Oregon are all ahead of an undefeated Oklahoma.
Absolutely.
It's just they have not played very good games collectively so far. You look at the Kansas game, look at the Tulane game, where Tulane probably should have won that game.
Definitely.
Caleb Williams is an absolute animal. He will definitely be a Heisman contender for years to come. I don't know about him winning it this year just because he started so early. If he started week 1, he would be Heisman front runner with Kenneth Walker. Then I got Wake Forest and Oklahoma State rounding out the top 10. I think Wake Forest, again, like I said last week, it being this deep in the season and then being undefeated is impressive. They don't have the strength of schedule that other teams do because they're playing in the ACC. But if they win out, I hear you with them probably not even getting in if they win out. But they'll get considered, and they'll probably make a New Year's Six bowl at least.
Absolutely.
If they win out.
I'm not sure which bowls are the the ones for the playoff this year, but they'll definitely represent the New Year's Six Bowl.
Heck yeah.
Because, I mean, at this point, you look around, what are the other ACC teams, right? You got NC State. You got Pitt coming in at 25. It's not really many chances for them to falter if they can continue on the track that they've been on.
Right.
But all right, it's time for me to get on my soapbox about Cincinnati.
Go ahead, man.
Because I was very adamant about how I felt about them last week.
Yes.
Felt like they were the second best team in the country, as evidenced by, I believe it was January. If it wasn't January, it was December when they played Georgia in that bowl game. Gave them everything they can handle, and all Cincinnati has done since that game is go unbeaten through the first 8 weeks of the season. Go on the road at Indiana, which, okay. Indiana had a really good year last year. They have a quarterback, Michael Penix Jr., who some people were considering an early Heisman front runner. So no one really saw their fall off coming. So that's a game that a Cincinnati team coming from the American Conference before the season starts, you talk about games that you could take to build up your resume. That seemed like a pretty good game to take. A Big Ten team, you don't play a lot of those teams all the time. That's a tough game. Going on the road and they beat them. Some will say now retroactively because Indiana has a pretty bad record now that they should have blown them out. On the road, Big Ten team, really good quarterback, tough environment. That's a big win. I don't care what anyone says. Then, the biggest win of their season, what I think might be, outside of Oregon going into Ohio State, the most impressive win as far as, well, we got to throw Michigan State beating Michigan in there too, but just Cincinnati going on the road in South Bend. Absolutely. On the road in South Bend against Notre Dame, a place that no one wants to play. I mean, you talk about some of the best teams in the nation, like when they play Notre Dame, they want to play them neutral site because they're afraid to go up there and play. It's crazy how Cincinnati can take two games like that, and then we hear the committee chairs say, we don't really feel like they have many quality wins. We don't really feel like the strength of schedule is there. And, that's a slap in the face to that program and a slap in the face to what they tried to do because if they can't get in, then a Group of 5 team will never get in. They went on the road. They beat Indiana. They went on the road. They beat Notre Dame. They've beaten everybody in front of them. So it's a slap in the face to what they're trying to build and to what the Group of 5 represents. And another slap in the face to not just Cincinnati, but to the entire American Conference. SMU and Houston not being ranked in the top 25. Two teams that in the AP poll, they're ranked, and consensus across the country is that those are two of the top 25 teams in the country. You could put them in the 20s, you could put them in the teens. Those are two of the top 25 teams in the country. And what that does, the committee's very smart about what they're doing. I can see what they're trying to do. I'll be very surprised if it goes a different way, right? Is they got Oklahoma at 8 and they got Wake Forest at 9. So on the surface, to the untrained eye, it would be, if Georgia beats Alabama, they'll cancel them out. They'll go down. And then Michigan State, Ohio State cancel each other out, right? And then you got Oregon, and then people will say, well, there, Cincinnati's right there, right? No, because by not ranking the two other quality teams that Cincinnati's going to face for the rest of their season, you're basically saying Oklahoma and Wake Forest, if you wow us, you got a chance to get in. So I just don't think that's right to the Bearcats. I think that they're definitely, if not the second best team in the country, most definitely a top 4 team in the country right now. I don't have a ranking set up. I don't have a top 10 made, but, if I did, Cincinnati would definitely be second or third, right up there. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw that they were 6th. Like we have to overhaul the whole system.
I thought it was a meme. I thought it was a joke.
We got to overhaul the whole system. If Cincinnati doesn't make the playoff and they go unbeaten in the American Conference, not an easy conference to do it in, with taking a game on the road at Indiana, taking a game on the road at Notre Dame, then we got to overhaul the system. And we got to expand it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll talk about expansion in a little while, but I mean, as Lorenzo said, as he said, man, if they can't get in, a group of 5 teams never going to get in.
This is
what more do they have to do?
This is the time.
Yeah.
Like, this is the time for a group of 5 team to get in,
Yep.
especially with all this chaos going on.
Oh, yeah.
The usual suspects are kind of down a little bit.
Yep.
If there was a time for a group of 5 team to get in, it would be right now.
Yep.
And to put them at 6 is basically saying you can't sit with the big boys.
Well, it's at least saying you don't control your own destiny among the big boys.
Absolutely.
Basically saying if you don't win out, or if you win out, you still probably aren't going to get in.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful to the program. It's disrespectful to Desmond Ridder and his guys. It's disrespectful to Luke Fickell, who I think is one of the best coaches in the country.
I love Luke Fickell.
He is a great coach. It is criminal what the committee's doing with Cincinnati, in my opinion. I mean, they're undefeated, right? As Lorenzo said, as a Georgia fan, I know how difficult it is to go into South Bend and beat a Notre Dame team. We won by 1 point in 2017?
Yeah, a team that went to the national title game.
Yeah, a team that won the national title game beat Notre Dame by 1 point. It's a tough place to play.
Yes.
Cincinnati playing Notre Dame, I watched that whole game. Their defense, those cornerbacks, absolutely shut Notre Dame down. Notre Dame is a solid team. I've got them at 11 for me right now. They're on every poll in the country. They're going to be hovering around the 10 spot.
Yeah.
So Cincinnati has Indiana had a lot of momentum coming out of the season. They had 2 losses in 2020. They went like 6-2 because of that shortened season with the Big Ten, COVID, and everything. They looked good. Michael Penix looked good. They're down now. I still think it's difficult to go into Indiana and win.
Yes.
38-24, comfortable. I think the spread was 13.5. They covered that game. They covered a game on the road against Indiana. I'm almost positive they covered a game on the road against Notre Dame. I'm pretty sure that they were favored maybe by 1 over Notre Dame. It's truly criminal. Everyone should have Cincinnati in their top 4, in my opinion. But apparently and what's funny, Lorenzo, is I think that every year that I've since the college football playoff committee has begun, once they discontinued the BCS polls.
Yes.
I think they've gotten it right every year, with the exception of maybe there was a little bit of controversy in 2017 by putting a 1-loss non-con champion Alabama in the playoffs. The only thing is Alabama won the whole thing that year. So it's kind of like the committee can just step back and go, well, Alabama won the national championship that year. But this year, if they don't have Cincinnati in, and Cincinnati wins their conference, which they very well should and could, they've got to play 2 tough teams, or at least one, right? They got to play SMU, and they're probably going to have to play Houston.
Yeah, they're going to play both of them.
They're going to have to play both of them, and both of those teams have high-flying offenses that I think Cincinnati's secondary is going to shut down. Desmond Ridder's going to go out there and win the game. I think they're going to go 13-0, win their conference, which, okay, I get it. The American isn't the Big Ten. It's not the SEC. But it's still them going 13-0. As you said last week, Lorenzo, that's hard to do over such a long period of time if they go undefeated. So no reason they shouldn't be in the top 4 if they do so, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, like they can even beat those 2 teams and not get really rewarded for it because they're not ranked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy, man. Cincinnati, I'm here for you. I'm backing you, man.
Same.
Every week, you know what I'm saying?
Same.
I'm right here with you. So going in to continuing on with the theme of the college football playoff rankings, right? Dark horse playoff contenders. I'm just going to give you mine right quick and a little bit of my rationale. And it might be just a wee bit of bias, just a little bit, a tiny pinch. Auburn.
I know what you're going to say.
Auburn. You gotta think about it, right?
Yeah, man.
One of our rapid fire games last week was Auburn Ole Miss, and a lot of it was a little bit lower scoring than I thought, but that Auburn defense came out. They came out with their hair on fire. They were playing hard. Bo Nix came out there making plays. Tank Bigsby was running the ball, and they beat Ole Miss pretty comfortably. the score was 31-20,
Mm-hmm.
but if you watch the game, they pretty much controlled that game the whole way through.
Played really well.
Very, very impressive win. We're gonna see who Auburn is this week. They got Texas A&M. We're gonna talk about that one later. But just going this road with me, right? Auburn beats A&M. I don't believe that they have many tough games leading into the Iron Bowl after that A&M game. If they can win the Iron Bowl, they are in the SEC title game where, I mean, they'll likely meet who? Them dogs, the Bulldogs.
They will, actually. Georgia clinched the East last week.
Absolutely. Oh, wow, already.
Yeah, Kentucky lost that game against Mississippi State, so we clinched.
Man, yeah, someone's going to stop them. But so they'll play UGA, right?
That's correct.
It's hard to beat a team twice. It is hard to beat a team twice. I know how good Georgia is, but it is hard to beat a team twice.
We weren't able to do it to y'all in 2017. We only beat you once.
Yeah. It's hard to beat a team twice, man. So if Auburn can find a way to win out, beat A&M, host Alabama and beat them, and then go down to Atlanta and face those Bulldogs and beat them, I don't know how the committee keeps them out. They will be the SEC champion.
Yeah.
They're going to leapfrog all of those teams. At that point, I'm thinking as far as top four goes, we're looking at Ohio State, Oregon, and then you got Georgia and Auburn.
I would have to agree.
So that's my dark horse pick. Just a tiny bit of bias, right? Just a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. If Auburn goes in there, Jordan Hare will be rocking if they manage to beat Texas A&M this weekend, which I pick Auburn to beat Texas A&M this weekend.
Don't tell me that, man.
Dude, Auburn's playing their best football at the right time right now. Their defense absolutely locked down Ole Miss, who, in my opinion, firing on all cylinders. You got Lane Kiffin coaching, one of the best offenses in football.
Absolutely.
You got Matt Corral at the head. I know he got a little injured, but still, you held him to 20. Auburn goes in there and beats Texas A&M, which I think they will. That's going to be a wild Jordan Hare in the Iron Bowl. That's going to be crazy. And one of my favorite YouTubers, Georgia fan Uncle Lou, he's put it really funnily. I can't remember what he said. That's what he said. He said, Alabama hasn't beat Auburn at Jordan Hare since the iPhone 6. Which is really funny to think about. But it's true.
Yeah.
Well, 3 of the last 5 times Alabama has gone in there and laid an egg.
Yes.
And man, in my opinion, the 2 hardest places to play in football, when LSU was good, Death Valley.
Absolutely.
And Jordan Hare.
Yes.
Jordan Hare has this weird magical effect on opposing teams. I don't know what it is. Y'all are so loud, though. It's going to be crazy, and I think Auburn will pull it off against Texas A&M, close one because it will be in College Station. But I think Auburn will win, and then they've got as you said, Lorenzo, they've got easy cruise. Mississippi State and South Carolina, 2 of the worst teams in the SEC, in my opinion, at least on paper. And then they've got the Iron Bowl on November 27th against the Tide. So yes, if they win out. They'll go to the SEC championship. They beat Georgia. I'll quit watching football if they don't get in. If they do that, I mean, beating number 2 Alabama, number 1 Georgia.
I mean, what else can you do? I mean, we talk about a dark horse though. That's as dark as a horse can get.
Oh yeah, yes, that is a great pick, Lorenzo. I was thinking you were either going to pick them or Wake Forest. Keep your eye on Michigan.
Michigan.
Keep your eye on Michigan. That was mine once you initially sent me what we were going to talk about. Wake Forest is one to keep your eye on, but they got to win out. I don't technically think they have the manpower to win out. They don't have the depth. They could though, but keep your eye on Michigan. Ohio State messes around and loses. Of course, Michigan has to beat Ohio State.
Yes.
They already lost that close one to Michigan State, but this could be a Alabama-Auburn 2017 situation where Alabama went into Auburn and lost, didn't go to the conference championship game. Looks like Michigan State is inching closer and closer to going to the conference championship game. But if somehow Michigan ends up 11-1 just with a 4-point loss against a really, really, really good Michigan State team
on the road too.
just watch. I still think they have to have a couple teams like Oregon and Oklahoma lose to have a chance to get in, but keep your eye on them. I think, I mean, as I said, Harbaugh can't win the big game. The poor man. The Khakis can't win the big game.
I mean, I thought they had this one in the bag.
I know. I said to my brother, once they caught that touchdown pass, number one, that beast wide receiver that they had, I can't remember his name. He is an absolute animal. Once he caught that pass in the back of the end zone, they went up by a couple scores. I was like, this game's over. Michigan State doesn't have the offense to come back.
Yeah, man.
And then everyone knows what happened. But keep your eye on Michigan.
Michigan. I like Michigan. I like Harbaugh. Well, I don't really like Harbaugh, but I like what he's done with the team.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
I think that they're really good. Their defense is really good. Offensively, through 3 quarters, man, they were firing on all cylinders.
Oh, yes.
And they kind of got bogged down in that fourth. Michigan State, Kenneth Walker doing his thing. Their defense stepping up. Mel Tucker has them playing well at the right time. So, yeah, I can see it. I can see it, especially with the way that now we know how the committee feels about Cincinnati. If it comes down to a situation where they got to pick between an 11-1 Michigan, Michigan with a win possibly against Ohio State,
yes,
or Cincinnati, as painful as it is to me, and as much as I would disagree, I guess, I don't even want to say it, but they would have to put Michigan in that situation.
Yep.
So moving right along, staying with the playoff, should the playoff expand? We talked about this a little bit. Speaking about if Cincinnati doesn't get in. Now here's my ideal college football playoff expansion. Okay. We're at 4 teams right now.
Right.
I'm thinking 8 teams.
Okay.
I'm thinking just to appease these conference commissioners, these TV rights owners, I'm thinking all the Power 5 champions get in. Okay. All 5 Power 5 champs get in. Now you can rank them how you want to when you got these people in there, but all the Power 5 champs get in. From there, I'm thinking the top group of 5 champ, instead of getting a New Year's 6 guaranteed, they're guaranteed into the playoff.
Shot at the
So, yes. So now you're in the dance. Even if you want to put them at 8, just give them a shot. Right. And then 2 at-large teams. That's where you get your guys on the outside looking in. It's unfortunate that Georgia and Alabama have to be in the same conference. It's unfortunate that Ohio State, Michigan, and Michigan State have to be in the same conference. It's unfortunate that a lot of these teams are in the same conference because they're all so good. So why not give a few of them a chance to fight? You know what I mean? So that's my ideal conference, my ideal college football playoff scenario. Letting all 5 conference champs in, putting in the top group of 5 champ, and then 2 at-large bids.
2 wild card kind of guys.
But do you feel like the playoff needs expansion?
I'm always torn on this. A lot of people saying 12 teams. I don't like.
Way too many. I don't know if you can put 12 in.
I mean, the guys, the teams are going to be dead at that point.
Yes.
So much football, and that's always been a concern of mine. I'm sure the coaches love it, getting at least an extra week of practice or 2 weeks of practice of reps.
Yeah.
Which is great for the program. I don't know as much for the players, but here's the thing. I think because of Cincinnati this year, just looking at Cincinnati's situation, maybe 8. Maybe 8 would work. I've always said if we're going to expand it, no more than 8.
Yes.
Right? And I really like the 4 right now. I really do. The crappy thing is that at least one conference champion is going to be left out. Right?
Yeah.
Every single time. And I understand that, and I really like how you have it set up in your head. All 5 conference champions, at least one group of 5 team, right? With your other wild card candidates, you could have a situation where 2 or maybe even 3 group of 5 teams.
Yeah, just give them a shot.
If they're all like one loss, right? Like 11-1.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that punishes the truly elite teams. I mean, I like the 4 right now. I heard someone saying maybe 6, where the 1 and 2 get a bye. That's a little weird to me.
I don't like the bye with the playoff and everything.
I don't like the bye weeks with that. In the NFL, works fine. But not in college. It's just different. I like the 4 right now, but I would not be opposed to at the maximum 8. I would not be opposed to that at all. Partly because Georgia would get in every year probably. but yeah, I when you sent over this information, Lorenzo, I was like, no way, no, 4 is good. But when you put it like that, it made me think, wow, at least one conference champion is going to a New Year's 6 and not the playoffs.
Yeah.
So 8 would not bother me, but no more than that.
Yeah. I don't think we need to get into 10, 12. That's way too many because then you're gonna get maybe a 3-loss SEC team, man, and then I think that would just be too much chaos and too much football as well.
Agreed.
And as a football player, I definitely don't want to put too much on their bodies. That's why I'm saying 8. Just one additional game. Even though the playoff is kind of now one additional game from the BCS, I don't think one more would hurt too bad. I think that would be the NCAA's way of kind of getting some get back at the players for getting the NLI done. just a little bit.
I agree.
Yeah, make them earn those paychecks.
Yep.
But so I'm gonna switch gears with you, Moxon. So we've been talking college football for the last 2 weeks. We're gonna get into some NFL talk.
Okay.
Are you with me on this?
I'm with you.
So I'm not sure if you were aware, but before the season started, my Super Bowl prediction, Rams-Browns. That was my Super Bowl prediction. Browns have a lot of stuff going on, but the Rams look good. And now they have just picked up former Super Bowl MVP, multiple-time All-Pro, multiple-time Pro Bowler. We're talking about Mr. Von Miller. Put Von Miller on one side, you got Leonard Floyd on the other side, and then you got Aaron Donald as a chess piece that you could put anywhere.
I miss you, Leonard.
Yeah, that's a DGD right there, huh? So, yeah, Von Miller to the Rams, man. Like what are we thinking about that?
I mean, adding an elite player to an already stacked defense.
Yes.
I mean, Von Miller has always been one of my favorite players. I love Von. I love the way he plays. He's a really, really cerebral guy, high football IQ, really, really smart player, and just my hero when my Broncos won in 2015. Got that strip sack on Cam Newton, who I can't stand. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. You hurt my feelings, man.
But yeah, that was, I've always loved Von. I love his crazy outfits and his persona. I just always loved it. I didn't have, I'm not as big of an NFL guy as I am college, although I do keep up with the NFL.
Absolutely.
I love, Broncos are my team. So sorry to obviously have Von leave the Broncos. But I think just, you've got Aaron Donald, who is just an absolute monster, a physical specimen, who's been ranked in the top 5 players in the NFL for years and years.
Yes, deservedly so as well.
Deservedly so. He is the dude could beat almost anyone in a race, and he reminds me a lot of Jordan Davis, like senior Jordan Davis, extra large Jordan Davis. And then you got Leonard, who is a beast, and then now you got Von, and it's a stacked defense. Matthew Stafford's been playing good, I think.
MVP caliber ball.
Oh yeah, the Rams look really good this year.
Yes.
I was looking through today, and they're my pick to go to the NFC Championship and play Mr. Tom Brady. I think they'll make it there again.
We gonna get into that.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that. The Rams, man, just so good. But I mean, the NFC, it's NFC West, right?
Yes.
Tough division with the Cardinals in there. So we'll see how it goes. They already beat the Cardinals, though, right?
Arizona beat the Rams.
Did they?
Yes.
It'll be interesting, needless to say, then.
Those two teams are going to be jockeying back and forth. It's kind of unfortunate with the way the NFL is. They don't just do straight up 1 through 7. They do the top 4 divisional teams, and then 3 wild cards. So one of those teams will be on the road wild card weekend. And wild card weekend, anything can happen. It's kind of crazy. So it would be a shame to see one of those teams go out in the first round. It would be a shame. But I think Von Miller to the Rams, man. Like Von Miller, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and that's before you even get to some of the other supplementary guys that they have. Like, man, defensively, and then we haven't even talked about their offense, man. If you can't tell, I really like the Rams team. I like them coming into the season. I felt like they were a quarterback away last year. And man, Matt Stafford now in tow. Sean McVay got those guys clicking on all cylinders.
Love Sean McVay too.
Yes.
Great coach.
Innovative.
Yes.
And so Von Miller to the Rams, man, that's incredible. But switching over to the other side of the spectrum, talking about a team that coming off of 3 consecutive conference championship appearances, won a Super Bowl pretty recently, and then made another Super Bowl last season. The Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs have been like the darling of the NFL.
Oh yeah.
The last 3 or 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm. Ever since Patty got on there.
Yeah, and even a little bit before that, when Alex Smith was running with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, So Kareem Hunt. That team was really good. Yeah. So the Chiefs, man, they've been pretty good for a while, but man, we're seeing them struggle. They just had a Monday night game where they barely beat the Giants. Yeah. They've lost a few games that a team like them shouldn't normally lose with that talent. What's going on with them?
What's their record? Don't they have 4 losses?
Yeah, they're 4-4. If you would have told me they would be 4-4 at this point in the season, I wouldn't believe you.
Yeah, people are saying they're tied with my Broncos right now in the division.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Let me just tell you one thing right now: the Broncos aren't a good team. So that's saying something. But I've never, I know Broncos fans hate the Chiefs, Chargers, and of course Raiders. I don't hate the Chiefs or Chargers. I inherently have to be a Raider hater. But I've never hated the Chiefs or Chargers. I think Patrick Mahomes is probably he definitely is my favorite player. He is awesome. I love Patrick. I love how dynamic he is in the pocket. I love that he is just such an athlete. He's just such a fun guy to watch play. And I was actually really happy for him. Even more happy for Andy Reid.
Yes.
He's finally got one.
It was about time for him. He's had some really good teams in his career.
Yes, he has, and he just never had gotten there, and it was just awesome to see him finally get one. I was thinking maybe, Patrick Mahomes getting that, $500 million deal?
Yeah.
Maybe he's having that slump where he's like, I got paid. We just won one. We don't have to prove anything to anyone else at this point. We're a good team. We're stacked. I'm one of the best players. Oh, I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes is arrogant or anything. He's a good player.
But I mean that's natural.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always afraid with guys like on the Braves with Ronald Acuna getting paid $100 million. I'm like, man, is he just gonna kind of lollygag around now that he got paid so much? So maybe that's part of it. I saw a funny something that my brother showed me where it's like the Chiefs are just faking it. They're just hiding half their playbook. I don't know. I would just attribute it to them having a down year. A big thing is just Mahomes has thrown so many interceptions.
Yeah.
So he has just been an interception machine, very interception prone.
More so than we've ever seen him in the league, I would say.
Yeah, and they're losing teams they shouldn't. But teams have their down years. I mean, they went to the Super Bowl last year.
Yes.
They were in the Super Bowl in 2019. The year before that, they almost beat Tom, which I love Tom, but I was rooting for Patty to beat Tom that year.
Yeah, they were
close.
Darling of the NFL.
Yeah. Say that again?
Darling of the NFL.
Yes.
Everybody,
oh, yeah.
Really like Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, a lot of those guys, pretty likable guys. So, yeah, I mean, when you talk about a team that's had the success they've had, it could almost get to a point where these regular season games, it's like, man, I've played so much high-level, high-intensity football over the last 3 or 4 years. Like, imagine being Travis Kelce, right? Him having been in the playoffs so many years in a row, and now you got to get up for this Sunday game in October against the Tennessee Titans. It's going to be
a good team, by the way.
Yeah, Tennessee's really good. Tennessee's really good. When we look on paper, we look at the talent that the Chiefs have. They're definitely not 27-3 better than the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I attribute a little bit of it to that, to these teams not really, to the Chiefs not really coming up to play against these teams. I don't want to say complacency, but a little bit of boredom.
That's what I was saying.
A little bit of boredom with the regular season. I think they got the Packers this Sunday, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But, they got the Packers, Raiders, Cowboys, and then they got the Broncos, Raiders again, and then the Chargers. That stretch right there, we're going to really see if they're serious about this season. Because if they're the Chiefs that they've been, then they're going to come in and during that stretch probably have 1 or 2 losses. That's the type of team that they are. That's what they're capable of, right? So we're going to see about the Chiefs. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Personally, I am a Chargers fan. So personally, I've seen the Chiefs be able to flip that switch.
Yes.
I've seen it.
Yes.
My team has been up on them a few times, and then the Chiefs just like that, just with the snap of a finger, just become a different team. So, I think they're playing a little bit of possum with the league right now. And they're definitely going to be ready to pounce when the time is there. But I don't have them going to the Super Bowl. And that is the next thing that we're going to talk about, our Super Bowl predictions. I don't have the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl.
Neither do I.
So I have, out of the NFC, I'm going to stay with my pick, the Rams. I think the Rams look really good. And I was a little torn on this one because I was bouncing back and forth between the Rams and the Cardinals, right? Mm-hmm. I really like Arizona. I love Kyler Murray. I love DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green. Even though AJ Green, I don't know what you were doing, man, on that fade ball, allowing that interception to happen. But I like AJ Green, Christian Kirk. I mean, they're Rondell Moore. They just have so many weapons offensively, and their defense has played really well. I will say I think the injury to J.J. Watt will affect them more than people think, not just from a football perspective, because J.J. Watt was having kind of a turn back the clock kind of year, maybe not from a statistical standpoint, but stopping the run, getting pressure. But from that on-the-field leadership standpoint, like, people want to play for J.J. Watt. He's a galvanize the troops type of guy. They love who he is. They love what he's about. He completely changed the culture in Arizona, I would say, and they needed that. They've had talent. Ever since Kyler Murray's been there and Cliff Kingsbury's taken over, they've had talent. I just think they needed a culture shift, and J.J. Watt has been that. So I think that's going to be an issue for them. And it may not show up in the regular season. They may finish the regular season 17 games now, probably 13-4, or 14-3. I think they're going to finish with a really good record. When we talk about playing against a team like the L.A. Rams, very established, like we said, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, you're going to need some help. So out of the NFC, I have the Rams. Gotcha. And then in the AFC, I have the Buffalo Bills. I really like the Bills right now. I love what they're doing. I think that some people were picking them last year. I thought it was a little bit too early, right? Remember when the Chiefs played Tom Brady, and people were rooting for the Chiefs. I was rooting for the Chiefs because I can't stand Tom Brady, right? But it just kind of felt like it was just a little bit too early to pass them that torch, right?
Yep.
So I kind of felt that way about the Bills last year. They burst onto the scene. They made the playoffs that year before, lost in a barn burner to Houston and Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
So they made the playoffs again this past season, beat Lamar Jackson, and then went into Kansas City. I just felt like it was just a little bit too early for them to take that next step. They're ready now. Josh Allen's ready. He's playing MVP caliber football. Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, Emmanuel Sanders has been a huge addition for them. I see the Bills making the Super Bowl. Now, going back to my preseason pick, the Browns, they're dealing with a lot. So I don't really see that happening. But I have the Rams, I have the Bills, and then keeping with the tone of consistency, I have the Rams coming out on top in the Super Bowl. So that is my Super Bowl prediction.
All right. I've definitely got the Rams, if not in the NFC Championship, or well, if not in the Super Bowl, in the NFC Championship.
Yes.
I really like the Packers right now. I know they're dealing with a little bit of controversy with the COVID stuff with Aaron Rodgers and everything, but I still trust Aaron. He's, again, another one of my favorite players. Love Aaron Rodgers. I think the Rams will get there, though. As I said, their defense is absolutely stacked, and their offense is no less stacked than their defense.
We haven't even given their offense enough credit.
No, I mean, and guess what, Lorenzo? I had the Bills too.
Wow.
Which is funny. I was trying to. I like what the Chargers are doing.
Yeah.
I like what the Bills are doing, or I like what the Titans are doing. But I think it'll be either. I know the Rams are going to the NFC Championship, and I think they'll win over either the Packers or the Bucks, because I just trust Tom in the playoffs to get at least that far, or at least close to the NFC Championship.
Yeah, another guy you got to give the benefit of the doubt to.
Yes.
7 Super Bowl rings, you have to give him the
give
benefit of the doubt.
Always got to give it to him, but the Rams are just too loaded on both sides this year, just especially after adding Vaughn. I think the Bills, they're the more fun, cool pick, because the Rams are like, okay, yeah, the Rams are stacked. The Bills, Josh Allen is really fun to watch sometimes.
Yes.
I've always loved Stephon Diggs too. They've got a really good fan base up there in Buffalo.
Whew.
Bills are playing good football. I think they'll make it. I've got them playing against the Titans. After the Titans beat the Chiefs 27-3.
27-3.
After that, I was like, I know the Chiefs are kind of possuming this year, but I mean, beating Patrick Mahomes 27-3,
holding that offense to 3 points.
Yeah, their defense is good, their offense is good. I think they'll get there to at least compete with Josh Allen. But I think it'll be Bills finally after a long drought. Bills have never won, right? They went to 4 in a row and lost.
They've never won.
Mm-hmm. So it'd be cool to see them win, but man, I can't pick against McVay and his team, the Rams. I think they'll win it all. I like your pick of like 13-4, 14-3 type season for them.
Yeah.
They'll have a couple hiccups here and there, and it'd be really interesting to see if they go 15-2 with their only 2 losses being to the Cardinals. That'd be interesting. But yeah, I've got them winning the Super Bowl. I think they'll finally do it. It's been since the year 2000, right?
Yeah, around that time. Kurt Warner, greatest show on turf.
Yeah, St. Louis Rams beat Tennessee Titans actually.
Yes.
By that far. When I can't remember the tight end's name, tried to reach across the goal line. So it's been 21 years since they've won. I like this team. I think they'll win it all this year.
Yeah, and just a disclaimer to the audience. Me and him did not plan on having the same prediction.
No, we did not.
Yeah.
No, but I have it right here in my notes.
Great minds just think alike.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Great minds think alike.
Yes.
So both of us, we have the Rams and the Bills in the Super Bowl, and we have the Rams winning. So winding down here, getting into the home stretch, we're going to do a little bit of rapid fire.
Cool.
So since we've talked about college football as well as the NFL, we're kind of going to mix it in a little bit. So we're going to start with the Browns on the road at Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati, a very surprising team, I would say.
Yep.
Man, I mean, Joe Burrow coming off that injury, and it didn't really seem like Cincinnati made any radical changes to the O-line or to their team or their scheme or whatever. You couldn't have really felt that Joe Burrow was going to have the type of year he's having, but he's been sensational. Joe Burrow he's played like a top 10 quarterback. He's played like the number 1 overall pick that he was.
Yes, he has.
Just 2 seasons ago. You got Jamar Chase, who has looked every bit of the best receiver of that draft class. He has come right in and just put his fingerprints all over that team and all over the league. He's just been sensational. Him and Justin Jefferson keeping that gritty alive. You love to see it. Jamar Chase has been great.
Yes,
and then you got T. Higgins on the other side. You got Tyler Boyd. And then you got Joe Mixon in the backfield. Really good team. And the Cleveland Browns, man, just going through so much with the Odell saga and their injuries. They just can't seem to get on the same page, and it's disappointing because for Cleveland fans, they thought that this was the season for them.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Unfortunately, I have the 4-4 Browns falling to 4-5, and I have the Cincinnati Bengals winning that game.
Yes.
So,
as do I. I don't think it's as much. Yes, Cincinnati's surprising, and they do have some pretty good weapons.
Yes.
Joe Mixon has screwed me over in fantasy football more times than I can count. So I'm messing. But Cincinnati's, as you said, a big surprise. I think the reason that they win is not really as much it is for them as it is as the Browns just not being in a good place right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a Cleveland Browns friend, and he was just like, "This is our year," you know. And I don't think I hate any team besides the Raiders in the NFL. I know a lot of people have put hate on the Browns. It pains me to see this fan base go through the same thing every year. You know what I mean? Yes, they're winning more games than they were when they, were going 1-16 and 2-15. You know, but they're really beat up. They've got this Odell drama. And I was reading this article today, or it might have been yesterday, where, there's so much going wrong on offense, and it's always going to be blamed on Baker, when really a lot of it isn't his fault, Baker's been pretty inconsistent. I think during his tenure, I've always liked Baker. Since the Rose Bowl game, I've always liked Baker in 2017. But yeah, I got the Bengals winning that game, and sadly the Browns just continuing their misfortunes. Hopefully, no one else gets injured.
Man,
it's sad to see. It really is.
Like, could you imagine, just with all the stuff they're going through, just getting another injury? That would just be out. Man, Browns fans, I feel for you.
Yes.
I'm a Chargers fan, so I've seen my team deal with their fair share of injuries. It's gonna be all right. There is light at the end of the tunnel. I think that they have a really good team. I think their culture is developing. I think Kevin Stefanski is trying to get things moving in the right direction. So I think the Browns are going to get right. Unfortunately, it won't be this week. Packers and Chiefs, two teams that we talked about. Green Bay going on the road. Now, normally with the Chiefs dealing with everything that they're dealing with, this would be open and shut. Talking about the Packers, who've been playing some of the best football in the league. That bad man, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Jones in the backfield.
The man that doesn't age, and then I love Aaron Jones.
Yeah, and then you got Devontae Adams, and Aaron Rodgers just seems to make anybody else around those guys just better. So, and that defense has kind of shut a lot of people up with the way that they've been playing so far. But man, Aaron Rodgers going down. A little bit of controversy with his COVID vaccination or immunization status, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So this is going to be very interesting, but what might come as a bit of a shock. I am going to take the Green Bay Packers.
Take the Packers
on the road in Kansas City, and this is a game where Kansas City. This would be called a get right game. This is what my old Red coach used to say. This is a get right game. A game that if you're dealing with bad stuff, this is the time to get right. You know what I mean? A team that's licking their wounds because of their quarterback being out. And from what I've seen from Kansas City, I don't know how serious they're gonna take the game. I think they might come out just doing, kind of not really playing sound football, just doing little bad things here and there, picking up bad habits as they've done throughout the season. And I think that Green Bay is going to surprise them. I think that Jordan Love should be getting the start, correct? So I think Jordan Love is going to play. Yeah, Jordan Love is going to play pretty well. If they just can get one of those receivers back from the COVID list, that would definitely help him out.
Yep.
So I have Green Bay shocking the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead.
So I thought you were going to pick the Chiefs, which I was like, no, don't pick the underdog. Although, actually, I think the Chiefs are favored in this game. Last time I checked, I think they were 2.5-point favorites.
As they should be. No Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. I like the Chiefs in this game.
Okay.
Again, a kind of similar situation with the Browns-Bengals game. I think it's not going to be as much Green Bay's success as it is going to be the Andy Reid's, as you said, it being a get-right game.
Yes.
The Chiefs are in a prime position to win a big game against a good team at home. I know they don't have Aaron Rodgers, so that'll always, if they do end up winning, that'll be at the end of the season. Yep, they do have that big win. Of course, there's no selection committee; it's records in NFL, but
yep,
that's going to be a game where you look back and go, well, there was no bad man Aaron Rodgers on the field in Kansas City that day. But I like Kansas City just finally finding its own footing. To me, momentum-wise, this is a must-win game for Kansas City.
Absolutely.
They'll go up to 4-5 should they lose this game, which 5 losses big hole to crawl out of if you're looking at playoff implications.
Yes.
Obviously, I don't think they have any Super Bowl. I mean, they do have Super Bowl chances. I don't think they'll make it this year. Man, how good would it be if we could have a replay of that or a rematch of that amazing game a few years back between the Rams and the Chiefs, that 54-51 game. I think it was a Thursday night or a Monday night game.
Monday night.
One of my favorite games in NFL history.
Yes.
Amazing.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Just it kind of showed the culture change in the NFL of, hard-hitting defenses, pro-style offenses to this, like, spread them out, Lane Kiffin stuff.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun. And the Chiefs are still doing that. I just think the Rams are in a better position, but we already talked about that. I like the Chiefs. I think they're positioned to right the ship here, at least a little bit, with a win over a stout Green Bay Packers defense. They don't really have anyone. They don't have someone like Aaron Rodgers missing on their defense, right? If they can make a statement against that defense, I think that will increase team morale. Just Patty's gotta keep the interceptions low this game.
Absolutely.
At most one if they're going to have a chance.
Yes. So now going back into college football a little bit, number 13, Auburn on the road at number 14, Texas A&M. We both kind of touched on this a little bit. And as an Auburn fan, I'm going to keep hope alive. And I'm going to say that Auburn will go into College Station. We'll look the 12th man in the eye and will come out victorious. It's going to be very close. I'm hesitant to make a score prediction, but I can just say that it's going to be very close. I believe that, as you said, they're playing their best ball at the right time. Tank Bigsby is a monster.
He is.
Bo Nix, that Bo Nix magic, you can't really explain it, man. He just goes out there, he's just running around, you know what I mean, trying to make plays. One thing that you could say is he plays hard. That's one thing that no one could take away from him, is that he plays hard. He may not always do the right thing all the time, and he may not always do the right thing most of the time, and he may not even do the right thing 50% of the time, but he's trying to make a play every time he touches the ball. So that type of quarterback is dangerous. Texas A&M, of course, really good team, beat Alabama at home as well, but I just believe that Auburn's playing their best ball at the right time. And A&M's kind of struggled with Auburn recently. So I think that we're going to see Auburn come away with this win.
Yeah. Auburn's got they've got the advantage time-wise. You got to look at all the factors here, because I think Auburn and Texas A&M outside looking in are pretty evenly matched right now.
Yes.
The kicker here, there are a few kickers. Texas A&M at night, really tough place to play. Just ask Nick Saban, right?
Absolutely.
Game will start 2:30, I know, Central Time, So it must be, it's a 3:30 SEC, good old Gary Danielson calling games. I wish he would stop because he's the worst announcer in football. I like Auburn in this game. I'm trying to look and see if what's the spread? 4.5 points. Texas A&M 4.5-point favorites right now. So if Auburn doesn't cover or if they don't win, they will cover the spread. But I like Auburn winning this game. I think it's going to be a score lower than the Ole Miss game. Like whatever the over/under is on this game, I'm taking the under. I think Texas A&M's offense has been inconsistent at best this season. They were really good against Alabama. Zach Calzada played the absolute game of his life against Alabama. Auburn's defense is playing really good football right now. And Tank Bigsby's playing well. Bo Nix is doing his Bo Nix thing, running around behind the line of scrimmage.
I know how you feel about him.
Throwing it up in the air. But hey, I'm not saying Bo Nix is terrible. I'm just saying he's a magician sometimes. He can make just crazy throws. And I think he's going to make a couple. Silence this Texas A&M over 100,000 will be packed into College Station. It's going to be wild. It'll be fun. I'm going to watch every second of it. I think Auburn comes out on top like a 27-24 type game. I think the game will stay in the 20s. I'm trying to see what the over/under is. Let's see. The over/under is 49.5. So give me, let's see. That would make it over. So I said I was going to take the under. So give me 23-20.
Okay.
I'll take the under, and I'll take Auburn covering, or not covering, but beating the spread.
For sure. And then our final game in rapid fire, we have number 9 Wake Forest unbeaten on the road at North Carolina. Now, North Carolina offensively, led by Sam Howell, led by Josh Downs, they have been very potent. They are one of the best offenses in the country. Their offensive coordinator, Phil Longo, I can't really remember how you pronounce it.
I think it's Longo.
Okay, my apologies to him. But he's very multiple in his offensive scheme. I think he does a really good job at maximizing Sam Howell's dual threat capabilities. They have been firing on all cylinders lately on offense, even if they haven't really been too good as a complete team. I think offensively they've been very solid. But then I look at Wake Forest, unbeaten. They're on a mission. They can see the light at the end of the tunnel. They don't see the big bad Clemson staring down at them. When they look now, they can see the NC States of the world and the Pitts of the world.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to come into every game down this home stretch motivated. And I think they're going to go on the road in Kenan Stadium, a tough place to play. Chapel Hill, tough place to play.
It is. It can get loud in Chapel Hill.
Yes, I have them beating the North Carolina Tar Heels. I think that Wake Forest is going to probably finish undefeated. So this will be a really good game for them to keep that momentum going.
Yeah. I got North Carolina winning this game.
Wow. Looking like me with the upsets.
I know, man. Well, technically North Carolina is favored in this game.
Really?
It is. They are favored by 2.5 as
wow.
What's the day? Thursday at 6:49.
The disrespect to Wake Forest.
I know. Wake Forest offense, we know what Wake Forest offense can do. I mean, they put up 70 on Army. I mean, it's Army. Then they just put up 45 on Duke. They're just absolutely going off on offense. I don't trust their defense as much, particularly their rush defense. I think Sam Howell's going to have a big game. I think he's going to pump the crowd up in Chapel Hill. It's going to be, you remember we talked about the Chiefs-Rams game. It's going to be that type of score. It's going to be an absolute shootout.
It's going to be a barn burner here.
It's going to be a barn burner. It's going to be a shootout. North Carolina, I see getting their biggest win of the season. They were really hyped up at the beginning of the year. I know you had them really high, didn't you?
I had them in the playoff.
Yes. Which, full disclosure, I don't blame you. They had some good recruiting come in this year. They've got some good players. Sam Howell's a good player. I don't want to say like elite quarterback just because he's been so inconsistent. And North Carolina's been the most Jekyll and Hyde team this year. They've been two-faced. I think they show a good face, their good side this weekend. And I think they'll win over Wake Forest by a touchdown or so. But give me the over, the exact opposite of the Texas A&M and Auburn game. Give me the over on this one. I think it's going to be a shootout.
And so that is the second episode of season 2 of RU Sports Speaks. Moxon, Glosson. I'm Lorenzo Robinson, and thank you for joining us. And we will see you guys next time.
Thanks, everyone.